to the Experience Strategy Podcast with Joe Pine, Dave Norton, and me, Aranza Savas. Today, we're going to go over to Fast Company. The title of today's article is, I'm not doing laundry on the clock. I'm micro-shifting. That's what it sounds like. I should read audiobooks. All right. Subtitle, the trend involves long work breaks punctuated by periods of intense, focused productivity. This is by Eve Upton Clark. This article came out October 7th, 2025, if you're looking for it, and we will be sure to link in the show notes. Okay. So what this is talking about, and I'll give Joe all the credit for sourcing this and putting it on the docket. There is a company called Owl Labs, which weirdly, it's the second time this company has come up in my day-to-day. They're a video conference tech company, and they said that 65% of workers are interested in a concept the report refers to as micro-shifting. Structured flexibility with short, non-linear work blocks matched to your energy, duties, or productivity. In other words, breaking up your work shift into a bunch of tiny ones. Now, it's funny because they probably were not talking to a bunch of middle-aged women, but I am writing a book about middle-aged women and how we do big, brave things. And so I've been doing a lot of research on middle-aged women. And one of the things that's come up again and again in my research is the importance of flexibility in our work days, especially for midlife women with changing hormones, right? Changing attention spans and energy levels as a result of the chemical changes in our bodies, and how valuable people talk about the work from home flexibility. And in fact, advocates for midlife working women are actively talking about this exact thing, but without the label on it, because I suspect they were talking to Gen Zs and millennials. Whereas what
surprise,
that tells
surprise.
me, surprise, what that tells me though, is that actually maybe this is a bigger idea than even they know. What got your attention about this article, Joe?
Well, I think it's the use of time, right? It's all about time, and that's one of the things that I've figured out. And Dave, again, always like to give credit to, right? Originally talked about experiences as time well spent, right? Which I've glommed onto and added, time well saved for commodities, goods, services, time well invested for transformation. So I'm always looking and thinking about how people are using their time. And this one also spoke to me because, like, I do this. This is what I do. I get up. I now do a lot of PT. This is a new thing as of 6 months as I age, and my back tightens up and my knees are aching and everything. So now, before I even get out of bed, I'm doing all this PT. Right? Have breakfast, and then after I get dressed and whatnot, I immediately go to my email. Right. I'm not like a Gen Z or maybe immediately goes to their feeds. But I go to my email just because it's sort of something like, feels like it's hanging over me, that there may be something there that occasionally I get a request from a reporter that does need to be really quick, but just want to see what's going on. I also got a couple of newsletters, one in sports, one from the Wall Street Journal, that I like to read. And then basically, when I'm done with that, if I don't yet have, and it's warm enough outside, I don't yet have any podcasts or meetings scheduled, is I go for a walk. Right, as I'm known in the neighborhood. We got a cul-de-sac neighborhood, so it's very long, very safe. I'm known in the neighborhood as the guy who reads the newspaper while he walks and smoking a cigar.
It's like you're from a novel, a British novel,
right?
Exactly,
right. Maybe I should get a pipe sometime, make it even more British. But so I'm sure people think very strange. I mean, there's one guy that walks his dog like 3 times a day, and sometimes I have to do it at different time periods. Like if it's cold out, I wait till it warms up or the sun comes out and so forth. But I just get rid of that, everything that's going on, and just go out there, catch up on some of the news, and just have a little enjoyable respite. Then I get back to work, and if it's like a writing day, then I immediately get to writing until I'm tired of that, and then go shift to something else. Go back, midday, go back and check the email, whatever, and again handle whatever meetings that I have. One of the things I was surprised at in the article is like in no way, shape, or form is what they describe micro. It's macro shifting, right?
Okay.
It's macro. I mean,
Also,
micro shifting is okay. Look at my email, then I slip over to YouTube or
To
something, right? As we
text.
talked
Yeah.
about last week.
Yeah. I
My
agree.
macro shifting is they're talking about things that they're spending 30 minutes, an hour and a half on,
mhm.
and getting things done. And so just I sort of describe like why is even the word macro here?
Well,
Well, I'll
micro,
tell you.
it's
Yeah.
it's
Macro,
it's
excuse me.
for the it's to make it more appealing to companies who are going to have to support it. Like no, this is not a big deal. It's micro shifting.
Right,
The
right,
way
right.
I took it was that instead of thinking of it as an 8-hour shift, you think about it as hour and a half long shifts.
Mhm.
And so
Hmm.
My
it
point.
is, it's yes, and still compared to an 8-hour shift, that's
Okay.
quite
Mhm.
small.
Yeah,
Even
I
right.
guess.
So you're breaking out your day into a different size bucket.
Right.
But
So you're seeing it at the word shift in the terms of like a shift is a period of work.
correct. I
Right.
I
think,
was reading it
uh-huh.
as I'm
You're
making a
shifting mode.
shift from
Yeah.
one mode to another.
Right.
Exactly. I think what they mean is the shift model, as
Hmm.
opposed to a 9 to 5 work
Got it. Got it. Got
shift.
it.
Right. But
But
it was
yeah,
Dave
it's
modes that I immediately thought of when I read the article. Like
Of
people are
course. Yeah.
shifting
yeah.
into different modes.
Yeah.
So for those of you who are new to the show, modes is a concept we talk about a lot in our work. Dave, do you want to give a quick orientation on modes?
Yeah. A mode is a mindset and a set of behaviors that people get into temporarily. And the key thing about that is it's temporarily. And you think about a lot of what they're talking about here. That's, like when I'm in beast mode with my workouts, then that's one thing. But when I'm in podcast mode, I'm behaving very differently.
When Joe's in Sherlock Holmes mode.
Mode. Yeah. He's got a bathrobe on. He's walking around the neighborhood.
I should do that sometime.
That's
Totally
really
should
good
do that
idea.
with a
Oh my
bathrobe.
Just
gosh.
keeps getting better.
That's just crazy. All right.
Awesome dad
I
jokes.
do. I think that there's something else that's going on here, though. Beyond modes, I think that micro shifting and the way that you described your life, Joe, it's not so much that you have a routine. There's
Right.
routines are permanent. They're
Yeah.
regimented. What you have is a life system, and we've talked about this as well. You have certain tools that help you with your walk.
Right.
One of which is a newspaper. A lot of people don't use that, but
Right.
still, you have certain tools that are helping you, and you have timing, and you have cadence, and you have energy levels, and all of these things have to work together. And so you bring in. You've kind of mapped out for yourself a system for living. And that system for living and that system for productivity connects, interrelates, weaves together, crashes up against each other every once in a while, however you want to describe it. And that's why we have to be able to do these different things. Rancis, you're talking about midlife.
I'm talking about
Uh,
responsiveness as opposed to
yeah,
routine. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
when you're hitting midlife as a woman, your hormones are changing. That means your biological system is
Mhm.
changing. That
Mhm.
means that the way that you want to do work,
It's
you want
changing.
is changing, and you need a life system that is flexible enough to support that. And if you can't get it, then you're probably going to go look for a job elsewhere because you really do need that,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So life systems are really, really important to people today. They're kind of like this hidden thing that we all have them, and when you bring them to people's awareness, they understand them.
Mhm.
But things like microshifting make a lot more sense when you realize that there is actually something very systemic behind what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. And I
Yeah.
think let's talk about what this means for companies that are looking at this as it relates to either their employee experience strategy or to their customer experience strategy. I mean, I think one thing we have to point out is that our last episode, we talked about YouTube and the way media is shifting. That's certainly related to this, right? We have
Hmm.
shorter and shorter attention spans. The reason people like YouTube, and we didn't talk about this explicitly, but a big part of the reason they prefer it is because it gives them a ton of autonomy to be responsive to what they're interested in that moment. If I need, plumbing advice, I can get that right at the second I need it. I don't have to wait for Channel 7 to air a plumbing show that happens to talk about my exact needs, right? It allows me to be in control
Yeah.
and to follow my whims in the moment.
Hmm.
And I think that's what we're talking about here with responsiveness in terms of how we work. If I'm in creative mode and I want to work on my book, I really want the freedom and flexibility to be able to do that. And the same is true for when you're in interview mode or writing mode. I mean, or meetings
Yeah.
mode or whatever.
And traditional workplaces do not understand that, right? Traditional
No.
workplaces, I mean, think of frontline employees in like retail restaurants or whatever, where it's like, impossible virtually. But in any office workplace environment, they don't recognize the need people have to get into different modes,
Yeah.
to be able to respond to what's going on with their body, with their mind,
Mhm.
and to what's going on
Energy.
at home. And it
Yep.
really, to be able to bring the whole person to work, that really needs to happen. It
Yeah.
reminds me too. This is years ago. The Japanese office workers famously work very long hours, and you can't leave until your boss leaves. Right, is sort of the thing. And but they did. I remember somebody did a study again years ago that basically said they actually don't work that much more than Americans. They need to take a break when they're in the office for 10, 12 hours. And so that's what all the pachinko parlors in Japan are for. And people take a break and they're disappear for a while. And they're out there playing pachinko, which is sort of like pinball but different. And so they don't end up working anymore. They just have to show their face in the office for that long.
Hmm. Hmm.
We got
It's
limits. You know?
we're absolutely everybody has limits to what they can do. But one of the topics that you brought up, Aransas, in a previous episode, was that AI doesn't have limits. So
No.
people are accomplishing a lot more, but they're getting exhausted
Yeah.
very quickly
There was an
as
article on
well.
that recently that said that people are working longer,
Mhm.
but it wasn't in a negative when they use AI heavily, but it wasn't in a negative way. It was actually, at least as it was positioned, but that there's more for them to do. They can now do things that they didn't get to do, that was always
Mhm.
hanging over their heads before.
Uh-huh.
And so
Sure.
it's interesting.
Probably both
Sure.
and. Okay, here's my next AI conversation I want to
I
have.
was, I was
See if
hoping
we
we
can
go a
find an
whole
article
episode
about
without
this.
AI, but AI,
No, no, doesn't
no.
exist. That ship has sailed, my friend. Here's what I want to talk about with AI that I haven't heard anyone talk about yet is the fact that people are talking to AI in such honest ways that they're regularly, candidly admitting what they don't know.
Hmm.
And they're asking for help. And I wonder if ultimately it will help people become more adept at acknowledging where their weaknesses are, where their needs are, and maybe more comfortable
Hmm.
in interpersonal human relationships. Or will it have the exact opposite effect where we only admit vulnerability to a computer and we stop being able to do it with other humans?
Yeah. Yeah, it could go either way, and maybe to some degree it depends on personality to some degree, right?
We'll see a change though.
We're definitely going to see a change. Um, uh,
It's interesting that they trust the AI enough to do that, right?
Yeah.
That's
Did you see
the
the
core thing.
news today
No, what?
about the OpenAI CEO uh, basically making fun of Elon Musk?
Oh, in his diary?
Yes, which was on ChatGPT,
Right.
which is now being used in his depositions.
Mm.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And so, like, people are like, "Oh, right, all that stuff is actually
Right.
yeah.
not
Private. Exactly.
private."
Exactly.
Well, he kept a diary, and it got
Hmm.
that was the first round, right? I mean, he
Right.
kept a
Yep.
diary, And so then they subpoenaed those diaries,
Well, it was a
and
chat
then he moved.
GPT diary.
Well, that was
Oh,
only
they took deeper
later.
ones.
That was only
Sorry.
later. Like in the early stages, he was keeping a physical
Physical.
diary. So that's where it started, right there.
Lord
And then
knows.
only recently did he start keeping his diary in ChatGPT. So which he owns. So you'd hope he'd be able to screen some of that, but I don't know. We'll see.
Just a good reminder.
Yeah.
Think about what you're putting in there.
That's
Yeah.
Um,
right.
it might come back to bite you. Bringing this home, what do you think, hope your clients will take from this conversation?
Well, I think we have a dated idea about productivity.
Mhm.
That what constitutes productivity is how much focus time is spent on the particular task that you're trying to do, and can you maximize that kind of level of productivity. That has never been the human condition unless forced. And I think today what consumers are looking for, what workers are looking for, what people need in general is the ability to step away, to move into a different mode, to maybe be in focus mode, maybe be in recovery mode for a little while, to feel like their life systems are being supported. It's wonderful to see these types of articles popping up over and over as evidence for the fact that we've been talking about this now. I mean, we've been talking about modes for almost 15 years, if you can believe that.
Wow.
It's crazy how long we've been talking about modes and life systems for like 7 years. So it's confirmational that we're headed in the right direction. Um, I just don't think there's that many companies that are really supporting these models of human behavior. And if you're not, then how can you say you're really personalizing the experience? How can you say you're really um, providing that level of value that the customer is looking for? So,
Yeah.
uh, you know, just that.
Yeah. 100%
I mean,
agree.
yeah, it's good. It's good human design too,
Yeah.
frankly.
Mhm.
Right.
We can't ask humans to operate like machines.
Mm-hmm. No.
And asking them to run 24/7 without the variability of a human is asking them to run like a machine, and they are
Right.
not optimized for that. Ask your
No,
machines to run like machines and your humans to run like humans.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's a beautiful way to sum it up. And I just add that there's tremendous opportunities for companies to be able to help people spend their time, right?
Mm,
And spend their time well, spend their time wisely, spend their time in being productive when that's the case. And
yeah.
so I just look out for those opportunities, seeing what modes your customers are getting into and how you can help them make the most of those modes, whatever they might be.
Yeah. Love it.
All right, guys, good to be back. Thank you all out there for listening. Continue the conversation with us over on the Experience Strategy Substack. And we will also post in the show links, as I said, the article link, but also a link to the workshops that Dave is planning where you can come and connect and learn more.